My name is Lauren, and I am delighted to welcome you to IMPROVATE's first International Innovation Forum. Joining us, though, are speakers from 13 countries and representatives from over 20 countries. Among them, world leaders, opinion shapers, medical and security experts, investors, and technology executives.
IMPROVATE derives from two words, improvement and innovation. And about a year and a half ago, we realized that there is an opportunity to create a platform that puts the money where the mouth is. And this platform hopefully will enable all of you to create business and strategic collaborations that will make the world better for everyone.
The talent is by far some of the most talented people here in this region. Silicon Valley wouldn't be Silicon Valley if it wasn't for, the innovative minds and the spark, the small community that's happening here in Tel Aviv.
I'm so proud to be with you, to be one of you, and all of us coming here together, being members of the IMPROVATE family. A family of joint values. A family that has a very special ambition and a goal to serve.
All right, we are going to get started. Now, with us to discuss solutions to global food security issues are Elad Levy, Vice President for the Middle East and Africa at drip irrigation pioneer Netafim. His Excellency Khadim Al-Dare, co-founder and managing director of the Al-Dara Group, a leader in the agribusiness sector. IMPROVATE board member and former Bulgarian president Rosen Plevneliev. Please, if you could join me on the stage. Thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen. Elad, the first question is for you. The role of technology in increasing agricultural yields and building resilient food chains is clear, but with the majority of farms in the developing world still run as smallholder farms, how can they scale up into sustainable businesses capable of meeting the challenge of feeding growing populations?
Well, first, thank you so much for the question. I think it's a very important question because up until today, most of the farmers around the world are smallholders. And Netafim, that is a 55 years old company with a legacy of success all over the world, is still working together with communities in order to make sure that we can reach these farmers. And we can do it in two ways. First, through technology. We make technology affordable for small farmers. And we're working with communities through business models that I believe that they are the future. Because if you look, for example, across Africa, then most of smallholders are scattered. I mean, when you go around Africa, for example, in Rwanda, then you see farmers that are scattered and they are far from each other. And we are bringing them together through a business model that basically bringing farmers together with centralized infrastructure, water infrastructure for irrigation, and they are working together as a collective and not scattered. And this gives them the ability to be served and to get the technology that they need in a much proper way. And I believe that, for example, the project that we do in Rwanda, in Africa is the future, because we are taking 15,000 hectares, which is 150,000 dunam, in the eastern province of Rwanda, and we're taking, together with the government, many farmers together in a centralized area, building the infrastructure so they can get water for infrastructure all year round, and basically we de-risk the climate change and de-risk all the challenges of smallholders by a business model and technology.
So obviously agriculture is becoming more and more data-centric. What will the smart farms of the future look like? What do you think?
Well, with regards to that, there are two main trends that we see in agriculture. The first one is that you see a transition between generations. So the new generations that take over the business is much more open for technologies. So they are much more open to use technology, whether it's iPhone or iPad, to improve their decision making. And in order to liaise with that, we are developing technologies, for example, our system NetBeat, which is a system of control and monitoring that enable the farmers to take decisions based on data from the field 24/7. So I think that the day that farmers will manage their farms from the smartphone is very, very near. It's happening already in the US and Europe and many countries. And I believe that already next year and the year to follow, we will see more and more farms like this that are active and getting decisions, the farmers getting decisions through sensors from the field. And this will enable them to be much more accurate and increase yield and reduce resources, which is, I believe, the most important part for our climate change trend that we see all over the world.
Absolutely. It's really fascinating what technology can do. Mr. Dare, thank you for joining us. So the UAE currently imports as much as 90% of the food it consumes, but aims to triple its domestic production and become a world-leading hub of innovation-driven food security. How does the UAE plan to achieve that goal, and how can Israeli agri-tech companies get involved in that?
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come here to meet and brainstorm and share with you your views and our views, what needs to be done regarding the food security. Food security is a broader subject and very important for everybody, every nation, especially after the pandemic and the problems that we have seen in terms of accessibility, especially the countries that they're really importing their products. UAE, as you know, we are a small nation like Israel, 50 years old, but our government, we are lucky to have a government that are really more advanced than the private sector. Our government, really in terms of technology and how predicting what's going to happen and what need to be prepared are more advanced. So our government has set a strategy, what they need to do in terms to having accessibility and continuous food supply till 2050. So they set this strategy in 2006, and our company as Al Dahra, it's a global company. We own more than 400,000 acres of irrigated, planted, plus the processing and the storage facility that we have globally in the 6 continents. That strategy was to ensure that the food security supply to UAE. And actually, we have, as you mentioned, that 90% due to our climate, our nature, that we need to import. So what we have done, we have went vertically integrated, and in countries that really promote and adapt to technology and the best practice for agriculture and facilitates. So UAE has adopted many programs and initiatives. UAE today ranks number 10 in terms of food, meeting the food security standards globally. And UAE has nominated and appointed a lady, a smart lady, who is in charge of food security programs and part of really looking after the KPIs from the government side and providing all the support that they need. We are happy and we are lucky after the peace or Abraham Accord that opened up a lot cooperation and direct communication, though with Netafim, most of our projects are, we are using their technology, but this really opened up the barriers and let us talk openly and transparently on common ground. So we are looking for technology. Agriculture, whether big farms or small farms, without using the advanced technology, we are not going to achieve, not just only for a country A or B demand, but the global, because as you know, the farmable land are decreasing while the population are increasing and the demand increasing. No choice, no alternative without using the technology and making sure that we increase the productivity and also managing the supply chain.
Can you tell us a little bit about the Al Dahra Group and some of its achievements and innovative solutions?
Yes. Al Dahra Group is a company that really invests in 3 layers. One is the farming, the vertical integration, and all sector mega. I mean, the smallest farm that we have is like 23,000 hectares, and the biggest farm can go up to 60,000 hectares, fully irrigated, and this is across the globe in 6 continents. We are using the latest technology in terms of subsurface irrigation, where we are preserving the water, but also we are developing and getting the best yield, and we are controlling the climate risk. Second, we are using a technology that really helping us to deter any issues regarding the seed or regarding the pesticides or anything that might affect the seasonality or the crops. Second, we are developing and cooperating with high-tech companies and how to build a report that really helps, and also, and we have witnessed this during the pandemic, where we have some limitation and the farmers to go to the field. So we found technology is very important. And another initiative is the drone, where we can some experimental that we are doing in order how to use it for pesticiding some of the area, where, or at least using it as a satellite to see where are the problems, or maybe a potential problem that's happening. So a lot of things is happening. And here, with the Israeli companies, we see a lot of opportunities. And these opportunities, what's uniqueness about it, that we are engaging in initiatives where we can develop it where we are. And this, where we gather more farmers, sometimes up to 5,000 farmers. They come and see the best technology that's been used, and how we can, like Elad said, how can we support and provide the service for training for the farmers where they are. The most important, water scarcity is very important, and in our region. And one of the uniqueness of the program that with Netafim and other Israeli company, they are really more advanced in terms of the desert farming. And as you know, in UAE, the similarity is there. So we start working with them and how we can bring they call it agri-tech, a park in UAE, where we can have some investment or programs in greenhouses or glass houses that really can mitigate that climate risk.
So Elad, after hearing a little bit about what's going on in the UAE in terms of strengthening domestic food production, why don't you tell us a little bit about what Netafim is doing in the Gulf since the signing of the Abraham Accords?
Yeah, maybe I would like to take, 1 minute and describe that, if you would have asked me a year and a half ago that we will sit here in Tel Aviv with His Excellency from Abu Dhabi.
Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem, sit here, in Jerusalem, and sitting here with His Excellency from Abu Dhabi, it would have been, nobody would have believed that this can happen. And, His Excellency was very, like most people in the UAE. For those who doesn't know, I live in the UAE since a year now. And like most people from UAE, he's so humble. The lands that he grows in Al Dahra, around East Europe, around the US, is in the size of Israel. Huge size of lands. And I think that this is just represents what are the benefits of the peace. And I really cherish this moment. With regards to Netafim in the GCC, so we were, now we can speak about it, because before then we couldn't, but we are active in the GCC since 20 years, in Saudi and in other countries, but in a very, very limited way. Now with the Accords and through the partnership that we have with Al Dahra, and through the contacts that we have around the region, the potential is just almost unlimited for us because the need is there. We share almost the same climate. We share the same challenges, and we have the solutions because we are a company that came from a desert climate, and this is actually what we do for a living. And this is why I see a great potential, and I see also a significant similarities between the people, between the Israeli people and the Emirati people. And I believe that a huge potential is before us, and I think that the Middle East is going to be the biggest growth engine for Netafim in the 5 to 10 years to come.
Certainly lots of potential there. Mr. President, thank you for joining me once again. So climate change is exacerbating food insecurity across many parts of the world, especially here in the Middle East, where desertification is on the increase and water is becoming more and more scarce. As president of Bulgaria, you implemented many major infrastructure projects. From your experience, what measures need to be taken to deal with this worrying scenario, and how can private sector initiatives such as IMPROVATE provide solutions?
Thank you very much. I'm so excited to be on that panel. Thank you again, and IMPROVATE, because it's a unique approach. Actually, as a president, I travel, I fly all over the world. But here, I'm sitting next to businessmen. Those guys are innovating, they're working hard, they're bringing solutions. And that's great because it's only together we can bring good solutions. As a president, of course, I was very important to give the direction. To put priorities, to open the potential, and look who is there to help us unlock the potential. And if you ask me about industries of the future, definitely life sciences. It's a huge industry for the future. It's going to flourish. And food production and agriculture is a huge, strategically important industry of the future, and is just in the beginning of this development. So we're talking today about something which is having a great potential to be developed all over the place. No matter if it's Africa or Central Asia, no matter it's Southeast Europe, there is a very great potential, and Israeli companies are extremely well positioned to unlock that potential with the specific countries. Just to give a couple of examples, we organized with IMPROVATE a smart agri-delegation to Bulgaria. That was a huge success. Everybody who is anybody in the country, ministers, deputy ministers, the biggest owners of land, the biggest agricultural producers, when they heard about Israel, they said, we're there, of course. Israel is leading today. You guys have to be so proud because we started in the desert 50 years ago. You started from nothing. No water, nothing. And now it's a paradise. But it's because of you worked hard, because you innovated, because you brought solutions that really work even in the most difficult conditions on the planet. And now we talk additionally about climate change. We talk about more than 90 countries in the world having water scarcity, even no water at all in the future. We talk about absolute unpredictability of where the climate is leading. We see that on the global change. Luckily, I come from the European Union, where we said very clearly, 2050, zero on carbon emissions, but we want to see also the others joining, and definitely Israel is even more ambitious. But on the other side, food production is in the heart of what people want to see. And food production has an extremely important social role because you have the thousands of farmers. They need hope, and they need your technology. I'm saying that Israeli technology, because of your success, because of the way you work, is welcomed everywhere. And it's just now to use such platforms as IMPROVATE to make it available. We saw it in Bulgaria, we see it in Romania, all the 16 countries in Southeast Europe, they are calling us, bring smart agri-delegations. We want to see more because Israel is helping us and is bringing solutions that really work. So next year, we're going to be very busy with that, opening the door and bringing Israel and Southeast Europe together. Africa is the same, and the results are there. The time has come for Israeli companies to scale up on the smart agri, because you have the technology that is solving the problems of the countries. Let's make it available to everyone.
Right, it's just a matter of connecting those technology solutions with the people who need it the most. All right, gentlemen, thank you very much. And that is it for IMPROVATE's Jerusalem 2021 International Innovation Forum. The forum is just the first step in creating collaborations between governments, businesses, and investors, and leading Israeli technology companies that were here today. The exposure right here at this conference is a first step. The next step, delegations and real-world business connections to promote IMPROVATE's vision of making technology accessible to all and improving the lives of people across the world. I would like to thank all of the wonderful speakers and panelists, the companies who presented the best of Israeli technologies, and all of you, of course, who were here with us today. A special thanks to two amazing women who made today's event possible, IMPROVATE's founder, Irina Nevzlin, and Ronit Hassin-Hochman, who together prove that nothing stands in the way of will. Thank you both so much for putting on today's important gathering. Happy Hanukkah, and we will see you guys at the concert tonight. Thank you.